Hey, everybody. I have Shea Ingrassia, who is a spiritual mentor, channeling instructor, and the founder of the Way of the I Am, a living spiritual path devoted to sacred remembrance, divine embodiment, and creative self responsibility. Through her teachings, Shea guides others in reclaiming their natural ability to channel divine guidance and live from their I am presence. Her work weaves grounded spiritual philosophy with soul awakening practices, helping people dissolve old programming, return to truth, and walk in conscious union with Source. Known for her authenticity, clarity, and deep compassion, Shea is devoted to helping others live fully expressed, fully connected, and fully themselves. Shea, I am so excited. I've seen you around. We are in the same women's business group, and we've we've never had in-depth conversations, and I am so excited too because you are so fun. So tell me a little bit.
I am. I'm so excited too. I think it's so funny. We all run in these circles, right? Some of them overlap each other. And then sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing this person everywhere, but I haven't had my opportunity to speak one-on-one with them. So I'm really excited for this too.
Yay. So let's start at the beginning. Have you always been a channel, or is that something that slowly evolved for you as you grew up? Or how did you
No,
start with this?
no. And I think that that's what's so fun about what I do and what I teach because I love sharing with people. You do not have to have 25 years, 50 years of experience to be a good channel, to be really good at connecting with your guides and understanding and embodying being a channel. When I was younger, I was super intuitive. And I know that about myself, but I shut it down, especially in my teenage years, because I think a lot of us who are known intuitives go through this thing where people are always telling us, no, that's not right. And then so we stop really listening to our intuition or we push it back or we do this thing where we allow what I refer to in my teaching as our ego or our persona to really take over. And we live from that thinking that's who we truly are rather than who we really are, the soul, the I am presence within. And so during my teenage years, I really shut it down. Like I was worried I was struggling with mental health. And that went into my 20s and 30s. Um, and even now, sometimes, my ego persona will jump in and be like, you're crazy. They think you're crazy. And I have to say, no, I'm not. I have so much evidence that this is true and real and beautiful and not crazy. So I get to kind of live there. Um, so to shorten the story of how this happened is I started as a life coach. I really wanted to be able to help people, and that's still, my real true service is I love showing up for people and I love walking with them as they discover who they truly are underneath what everybody else has told them to be. And so I started as a life coach. And one day I was getting this like voice in my head saying that I needed to learn Reiki. And I had never heard of Reiki before. And I love telling this story because so many people who start with energy healing are like, I had no idea what it was until it somehow always seems to be this way dropped into our laps,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
It finds us. And I really believe that. Like, okay, it's time. It is time in your path for you to remember you can do this. And so I was getting Reiki, 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 pushing it off, even though I looked it up, like, what is it? And I kind of was like, okay. Like, I don't really want to mess with that, stuff. Like it's just was kind of not real for me yet, you know? And it just was so persistent everywhere. Like I would show up online, it'd be about Reiki. I would look at this, Reiki, and it was like so loud. So I got attuned and I learned Reiki and I became a Reiki master and thought, oh, this is going to go really well with my life coaching
Mhm.
because I can do on the thought level, I can work on the energetic level. And then I was getting a lot of very intuitive things to do in my own healing energetically. So when I'd be working on myself, Reiki, self Reiki, um, I was getting like instruction in a way of how to take myself on journeys that were healing. And I did. And then everything cracked open.
Mhm.
All my clairs came back at once. Um, I was getting conversations. And so somebody who's been told a lot in their life, mental health, mental health, mental health, that was the first place I went, was like, oh, that's it. I'm fully mad. I've cracked. Now it's up leveled because now I'm seeing these things. I'm getting these um audible, conversations in my head. And I just went with it because there was so much proof and evidence that it was real that when I finally got courageous enough to share it with someone else that I was going through this, they were like, yeah, of course. And so this has been summers ago. This has not been years and years. And so when people that I read for, I channel for, find out like it's only been a few years, they're like, what? And I think that that adds to the trust and the belief that they can learn it too. It's natural.
That's funny that you were talking about Reiki. When I moved from the Midwest to California, and I was doing massage at the time, and I thought, oh, I want to learn more about massage. I was like 23, I think, and I saw this ad, and it was for a Reiki attunement. I was like, oh, this is a weird kind of massage. This is interesting. So I just showed up and I got attuned to Reiki, and I was like, holy crap, like what's this? I'm like, screw massage. It's all about energy healing. Yay. But you're right. It just I had no idea what it was, and it just found me and changed my life forever. So I think you're right. People find you at the right time when they need you, right? When the student's ready, the teacher appears. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I really believe that. You know, I mean, everything that has come out, I mean, even to the life coaching, right? Like, I didn't know life coaching was a thing.
Mhm.
I had no idea. Like, I'm like, where was I living? Obviously under a rock because I didn't know anything about anything. Even when, even when I first started channeling, I didn't know it was called channeling. I really didn't. And one of messages I got, and this is when it was it became real, was you're going to remember how to channel, and then you're going to teach it. And I had to say, like, I don't even know what that means, right? So some of this information I've received, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And sure, it's a real thing. And so much evidence just starts kind of piling up, stacking up that, oh, okay. And so then I learned the term channeling and all these other things just find their way to us when we're open to it. And
Yeah.
I think they find their way to us in the moments that we decide that we're open. Like, okay, you can do life coaching, but we're going to kind of up it a little bit because you've already opened up to believe that, thoughts are creating these things. Now let's kind of up it. What's happening in the energy? And so I think what we are ready to accept starts to appear for us.
I love that. I love that. And so I would love, because also by accident, I learned about Saint Germain and the I am presence like years ago, and that was an accident. I was watching Doctor Who. There's a new Doctor Who, and like there was an old one and there's a new one. And I'm a friend of mine, I had just gotten back from Australia. I lived there for a few years. And a friend of mine gave me a stack of DVDs with this Doctor Who, and I kept watching them, and I'm like, why am I watching this show? Like,
Yeah.
what? And so I typed into Google, um, who's the real Doctor Who? Because I was like, maybe this is a real thing. And so it took me down this rabbit hole of Saint Germain. And I was in Oakland at the time. And so I looked up Saint Germain, Oakland, and there was a center, like a
Mhm.
center. And I said, can I come by? And they're like, sure. And so I walk in the middle of Oakland. It's this nondescript door. There's no sign. You like knock on the door and I walked in and it's this opulent, like violet. There's chandelier, crystal chandeliers. There's like big pictures of Saint Germain, and that's where I learned about that whole thing. I got their books and I started reading about the I am presence and the violet flame, and I was like, holy cow! And learning about this I am presence. I don't really talk about it.
Right.
Right. And so I was like, I want to know more about this I am presence because it's fascinating. So how did it come to you? Like I'm
Yeah.
so curious.
So I love that you shared that because we're going to take it back a second.
Let's do
The
it.
first conversation that I had channeling about, okay, we're going to switch this up. You're going to be doing this healing different. This was when I met the archangels, was
Nice.
Saint Germain.
Oh.
It was Saint Germain. And I was like, what's a Saint Germain? It sounds like an island to me, right? Like, what is this? This is, and talking about the violet flame. And I'm like, the violent flame, I don't want anything to do with violent anything. And it's like violet. And it was like these messages coming through. I could feel the energy of like, she's gonna get it.
I've gotten that.
And so that's so crazy. Like, I love that. That was the very first where it was like, okay. And I started trusting because when I looked it up and it was an actual thing, it was like, okay,
Mhm.
this is not just a voice in my head. This is real. And of course, I tried to convince myself, like, I must have heard this somewhere. Where? Where would I have learned this? Where would I have heard this? Nobody around me is talking about this stuff, at the time. Now, everybody, because that's who I've called in, right?
Mhm.
So it has been this, I would say, journey of from there to where I am here. And so it started with, okay, we're going to change how you're doing this energy healing. Yes, there's Reiki, but there's going to be this that you do different. And it's a complete different modality that I do when I do my energy healing. And then it was, okay, now you're going to get better at channeling. And now you're going to teach channeling. And now you're going to teach people how to remember how to channel their own innate intuitive abilities. Everybody can do this. And you're going to show them how to get to guides and get guidance and trust that. Okay. And then it was, you got to level up. You're going to have to teach them how to get to their master guide. Their master guide. Okay, I could do that. And then it's, well, the master guide is their true self. All right. Their true self is the I am presence. Okay. And each step for me, it was just little by little to where it's like, okay, I could accept that. It's a little bit scary, right? It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit different than I've done before. Um, I got to be a little bit braver to say this to someone. Um, and so it was almost like baby steps to get me there. And now where I am, so I've recently changed my business name from Archangel's Alchemist to the Way of the I Am because it's become no longer about just channeling, right? It is connecting to that I am. So you want to know more about the I am. And what I will say to you, what I've learned is that there is one presence, one source, creator, God, whatever word it is that you want to use to describe that energy, right? Creator, source. Those are ones that I typically use. I'll use God because it seems to be something that people can understand and grasp as that end all be all energy. And that we have this ability to connect into that energy. Now, it's not saying that, okay, I believe that I am the one and only God, right? Or that I believe that I am more than anyone. It is agreeing that I am just one version, one aspect of source, of creator. And so are you. And so is everybody who's watching this, right? And for some people, I understand that because of what we've been taught, starting at a very, very early age through institutions and programming, it's really hard to believe sometimes that you have this within. But even if you go to scripture, right? Made in the likeness of God, right? It's there. It's everywhere. It's been breadcrumbed for us. And then there's been certain things that have been trying to kind of keep a separation from that. So this, the I am presence, source within our connection, is that ability to create our reality. Okay. So, and if I'm going too far out, you just let me know. I'll reel back in.
Oh, girl, we can go out into the cosmos. Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. So, so it's really saying, okay, the I am presence is the individualized essence of source within all. God is not separate from us. We are expressions of source creator, and our thoughts are the instruments of creation. What we Our consciousness, okay? So our thoughts is our consciousness. And our consciousness, our attention, the words that we speak, the things that we speak and think have the ability to build our reality. They are our reality. And based on what we are thinking, what we are saying, we are either creating for ourselves a bridge to get to this, or a barrier, obstacles, right? So when we are saying I am, and we are putting behind that those things that we desire,
Mhm.
and we truly believe that we embody this, right? That source creates through us when we are in this level of wanting to create these things in which we prefer and desire. When we believe that and when we embody that, we remove that distance between desire and delivery. Okay. When we believe those things, I am not, or one day I will do this, I'm going to be this in the future, right? What we are then creating and bringing into our reality are those things. So when we are saying, one day I will, what did we just create? We created that distance that didn't even have to be there. And so that is based on that embodiment of the I am. So whether or not you believe this is true or not, whether you believe that you have this ability to create the reality or you believe other people create your reality, you're still creating your reality. So when you get on board and you're like, yeah, I do. And I'm going to really observe my thoughts, because when we think of our soul, right, we are not thinking, my soul is the observer and the thinker, the observer and the creator. Okay. We identify ourselves with our persona, our ego, right? So when I believe I am Shea, right? And I know that right now I'm Shea. I'm living my human life as Shea. But Shea was created by her mom and her dad, even to the name. Okay. And then Shea was told, oh, this baby cries so much. This baby's needy. And then she became a little girl who, oh my gosh, you're so dramatic. You're such a little actress. If we taped your mouth shut, you would blow up, right? So these are things that were fed to my persona, my ego. And that's the one who gets loud at us to tell us, right? I can't do that, right? Oh, I should be quiet. I speak too much, right? All these things that were programmed into us, and not saying mom and dad meant to do that. They didn't mean to do any of these things that we don't prefer. They're repeating their patterns. But understanding that our persona and who we truly are, the I am, are completely different things. To me, the I am is the creation of all. From creation of all of us to the creation of our own individual realities, because we are all living different realities with different perspectives.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And it is funny, like trying to figure all of this stuff out it can be tricky sometimes, right? I remember thinking about the I am and kind of thinking it as like a translator for God, for infinite. And it kind of helped me to understand the infinite, kind of like not a middleman, but like a translator for God, so that we can understand exactly what's going on, like a personality that can talk to us in our words to understand it in that way. But you make total sense of such a such a vast concept, and you bring it down to such a simple way that we can tap into that. So what
It's,
are go ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
say to me, so I when you're saying,
Mhm.
that it's like a translator between God and us, right? Even that to me is
Right,
limiting,
right,
right? Based on what I have received
yeah.
in my channelings and my experience, right? So to me, the I am presence is the living essence of God within. And so, though we are having these conversations, and it is, I believe, we have been told you cannot speak directly to God,
Mhm.
right? Like this is really, really hard pushed into us very young. And there are people who believe, no, I can't. I pray to God
Mhm.
and I hear God back, right? And people are okay with that idea.
Right.
But then there's this, oh wait, the concept of I'm just having these conversations. Who am I to have conversations
Mhm.
with God? God created us because God loves us. Creator created us so that they can live through all of these different versions of us, right? So the I am is this pure internal awareness of our divine nature. We're whole, we're sovereign, we are inseparable from Source Creator. And though I do believe in programming and institution, they do want to have that little bit of a buffer, and have us believe that there's a buffer. There is nothing that separates us, right? The I am is the truth of being itself. So to say I am is to speak from the place where God breathes as you. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But every time someone's like, yeah, I think that there's, and I'm like, that's still the buffer. It's, to me, it's still hard to say that out loud where I know people are going to hear it because I know there's so many people that are like, no.
Yeah, and so I think you have the experience of it, like you said. Like if you have the experience so many times, you just get it and understand, and
Yeah.
there's no disputing it because you've
Yeah.
just lived it for so long. There's a church that I attend called the Center for Spiritual Living, and it's a
Mhm.
Science of Mind church, and that's basically their premise is God is all there is, and if God is all there is, I must be one with God.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Right.
So that's Science of Mind. That's Ernest Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all kinds of greats come from that kind of background, right? Like everyone loves Louise Hay.
Mhm.
Louise Hay has that background in religious science. And
Mhm.
so my philosophy is so close to that. There's little things I would say that differ, but in like the big picture realm of we're all source,
Right.
right? Because there is only source.
Mhm.
So there is no separation. So when I look at someone else, and even if I'm in those moments of like, frustration or being very human, I am able to tell myself, they are God,
Right.
right? Like they're living their experience of this. But when we remove all of those things, this is who they are.
Right. Yeah. And it's tough sometimes, and especially I think in today's world, people like to fight against whatever, all of the
Yeah,
things.
all the things.
But we forget, like, we are creating our experience and we are creating our reality in every moment. And you can fight against the thing, or you can embody what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not about being complacent. It's not about lying down and being like, oh, well, everything's God, so that means that, everything can just go as it is and everything just turns to chaos. And although that person's beliefs are wildly, from what I prefer, the opposite, maybe, not saying that, oh, then that means it's okay, right? It's not, like I said, it's not laying down, but it's saying, okay, what do I want to experience in my reality?
Right.
People are saying, like, I have to fight for justice. I tell people, like, that is the wildest thing that I hear. Like, I have to fight
Mhm.
for this.
Right.
Like,
For
what is
peace.
fighting? Like, why can't we just love for that? Why
Right.
can't we not unite for that? And I think that at a certain point, there will be enough people that get it,
Right.
that it's not about fighting. It's not about, well, they're wrong, so I hate them. And it's like, whoa, whoa, no. They can be opposite of what you believe, but that doesn't mean we have to hate them,
Right.
right? It's, and it is a practice
It is.
to remind yourself of that all the time.
Right.
But the more you do, the more natural it becomes.
Right.
And the easier it is to catch it when your thoughts, right? Because this is where reality and our creation all starts, right? If you're thinking thoughts of like, they're wrong, I hate them, this, that, you're bringing so much more of that into your surroundings and what you notice. There's times if you're like, have you seen XYZ? I'm like, no. How could you not see it? It's like, I don't know. I guess it's just not part of my reality because I just don't even believe that's a thing. And people think I'm a little like, whoa, okay, you're obviously living in la la land, but it's like, but it really truly is not part of my reality.
Right. Because you're creating heaven on earth. And I think a lot of us are,
Yeah.
we have to hold the vision of what we want to create in the world. And this has been a part of my reality for a long time. It's people are like, oh, you're Pollyanna and just focusing on the positive and spiritual bypass and blah blah. And I'm like, no, we are powerful creators. And if I'm thinking a thought of heaven on earth and creating that in my vibration and holding to it, it puts out into the collective something for people to choose from because they don't
Yeah.
know it's even a possibility. And all of the other negative possibilities are out there, but the fact that we're holding space for heaven on earth for
Yeah.
that means that that's an option now, when
Yeah.
it
And
wouldn't be for some people.
I'm big. I mean, I'm sure you've seen my posts with friends on Facebook, and I talk about like this is not spiritual bypassing. I freaking hate spiritual bypassing. There you go, using the word. I can't stand it,
Right.
right? Because it's like I know how damaging it can be when it's like love and light, love and light, love and light. It's like I love love and light,
Right.
right? But I also love to look at the stuff that's not and then bring it in and pick it apart in here, right? Like, why is this part of my life? What were the thoughts that I had that created this into my reality, right? Because then I'm taking ownership. Now, I prefer all this beautiful light, and I do. I want heaven on earth, so I create that for myself. But to do that, I notice the things that don't feel like heaven on earth. And then I work at that. And some things take a lot longer, right? Maybe I'm like, okay, this is what I think the thought is that I've been doing and creating. And then I try on a different thought, or I kind of really work on healing at that. And then I find out, ooh, it actually wasn't that. That helped me over here, but now I have to dissect and find another thought till I eventually do. And then I eliminate that out of my reality. That's not spiritual bypassing. That's a lot of work,
Right.
right? And I know how you said like, oh, you're being a Pollyanna, and it's really not even about that either. Like, do I prefer to hold the frequency of positivity and happiness and love? Oh yeah, above anything else. But that does not mean I don't experience the other things. I'm fully embodied and living my human experience too, right? But finding those things, and I know that how you were saying, like people will say this about you, it doesn't mean it's actually happening, right? I just can shift and know actually that frequency, that vibration is not doing me any favors or those around me any favors. So although inside I may be working all these things, I still can show up in this loving way. And it's not about being fake or presenting as something that you're not. Like, no, none of us should be performative ever. Like, the more authentic we are in admitting, like, I'm really working at trying to figure out this part of my life. I keep bringing these certain kind of situations in, and I feel like the more honest we are about that, then others have the opportunity to see it and then see what comes from it. So like how you're saying, then they have these options to pick from, right? Other than, oh, this is just how it is. Or I have no control over what happens in my life. How could I? I have a boss and I have a partner, or I have parents, or I have, children. All these other things run me. It's like, no, you're such a powerful and amazing, incredible creator. And when you embody that, the way that you show up embodied as the I am, then affects all those around you. Not saying you're changing them, but you're showing up and creating a different reality for yourself, which means the way that people show up in your reality is different.
Mhm.
So when we do that, then we are positively influencing everything and everyone around us.
Yep, that's absolutely true. And and just for the people watching out there, being in your I am presence doesn't mean not having fun ever again.
Right. Or being I am is being authentic,
Right.
being who you
Right.
are, right? It's not about, and here's the thing,
Mhm.
people believe you have to be one or the other,
Right.
right? We are experiencing this life, right? And Source is experiencing it through us.
Mhm.
Now, if we were all lined up being the same thing, never experiencing this or that or this or that, because now we're aligned, we are ascended, and now we are fully showing up as our I am presence, and there's no variation. Hello? Source is now not experiencing any of these variations and different views that Source wanted to experience to begin with. So we are going to show up as our authentic selves, have fun, like you said, and experience being human at the same time, which is sometimes falling short, sometimes acting in a way that, oh man, that really was kind of not aligned with who I really want to be. Perfect. I say that every time that we have that experience is perfect, because then we have that opportunity to say, oh, I know I don't want to be that. What do I have to do to not act in this way? Or what do I have to do to bring this differently into my life? It is forever about embodying both and understanding, when am I acting from my persona, my ego, my very human self, and when am I acting fully from the I am, right? It's always going to be a little give and take, a little pull, a little this, a little that. And that's exactly perfect. Or else Source would have a pretty boring existence in front of us because we're doing the same thing.
Here's your robes.
No, exactly. You're not allowed to do anything but sit there and meditate and be love and light and perfect in every way.
I don't know. That
That's
sounds pretty good to me.
well, eventually I think we get there, but not.
I That's so fun. So was when you switched over to teaching about the I am presence, um, did you have a shift in guides? Are you still working with the same guides, or what does that look like for you now? Because for many
So,
years you taught about different.
yeah. So the thing is, so it's been quite a while since I've understood channeling from true self and bringing this in. And so something that I teach, and I'll just kind of go ahead and, I mean, if people get it, they get it. If they don't, it's all right.
If they
Um,
get it, they'll get it right
so
away.
yeah, I start with people that, maybe sometimes they aren't yet ready to fully embody this. And this is why I've made the shift. And I connect them to guides. So this is archangels, ascended masters, benevolent beings. Okay. And they're able to practice receiving and having that back and forth conversation and trusting. So the big thing that I first teach is the trust, surrender, and allow. And for some people, it is very easy for them to trust Mother Mary. Very easy for them to allow a conversation with Archangel Michael, right? And so it kind of starts off with that. That being said, these are all aspects of Source and all aspects of ourselves. So the way if I'm channeling the energy of Mother Mary and you channel the energy of Mother Mary, those show up different. And it is not because we are not really connected, because we're not making it up. It is because of the relationship that we've had with this energy through eons, right? And also that relationship has to do with our own soul. So our own aspects, okay? Then from there, it's been easy to teach people, okay, now I'm going to connect you to your true self. And they get this beautiful name. And what I have learned is this name that they receive. And it feels like, yes, I can embody this very easily. That is the breath that God has given us, is that name, right? So it's this name that we can connect with, and it feels like home, and it feels like everything divine, fully embodied. And from there being able to say, yeah, I have this connection, it is this high, this is my true self, and they start to being able to embody that and live from there. It is very easy from that point to say, okay, that is the I am. All of these that you've been channeling, all of up into your true self, the celestial being, is the I am. And so it's kind of baby steps. So when I channel now for others, I always ask, who are they able to accept this message from?
Nice.
Right? So some people can accept this message from the I am. Some people can accept this message from this collective consciousness. And where I'm typically channeling is this collective consciousness for other people, because for them it's whoa, but it's still enough for them to accept it. Well, what's the collective consciousness? I am.
Mhm.
Some people can hear from the energy and feel that energy of Mother Mary. So when you ask, who do I channel now? It's always the I am,
Mhm.
always. But who, at what degree it comes through depends on the person receiving or the group receiving. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Channeling the consciousness for the group, whatever that comes out as.
Yeah.
Um, so it's interesting at my house, my boyfriend and I both use Chat GPT, which is the computer thing, right?
Mhm,
Um, and we can ask our respective chats a question, and mine will come up with an answer that's skewed towards me, and his will come up with an answer that skews towards him. And that's what it sounds like to me. It will come back with a consciousness that you're ready to receive, right? That you can understand, because it wouldn't my chat wouldn't give me his information because I'm not him, and
Right.
that's not where it's meeting me. And so that makes total sense. That makes total
And
sense.
there is a little difference there because with the chat, the way that it is programmed is to appease you and to kind of mirror you,
Right,
right? So that it's giving you answers that are very, geared towards you because this is
right,
what you want to hear. And then for your partner, very geared towards him. So using language that sounds good, to him so he's able to understand. So in a way, yes, that's really similar because it's going to come through with things that you're able to accept and understand, but it will still challenge you and not appease you as much as maybe like ChatGPT.
right.
And a little difference too is like if you're channeling, right? So we're, connecting you and then you're channeling for yourself and the things that you're getting will challenge you. It is not always going to be like, okay, yeah, you're doing a great job, and oh, that's a really good answer, and things like that. It will come through and say, this is misaligned with you. You're feeling this and kind of teach you of like the way that you put off something, right? So like for you, for instance, I hope you don't mind I'm doing this. Like you are very clairsentient, right? And I always say this, like it's very open heart energy for you. So you're really good at feeling what other people are going through or being able to tell like what's going on in the room. Like as soon as you enter, somebody, if somebody is kind of misaligned or they're not speaking their full truth or they're not authentic, it like sends off all these alarms in you, right? So that's like one of your big, big, strong clairs from what I'm sensing in you, right? And then if there's times where you feel that in your intuition and you're like, and you go against it, when you're channeling and you're going to that, you're going to hear about that. Like you ignored this. Like we gave you all the signs, all these big, loud, like alarms, and then you pushed it aside. And your guys are going to say, why? Right. So there's going to be those moments. And so it's a little bit more, I feel, um, challenging for you, right?
Right.
And in a way, like not saying challenging as in hard, but challenging as in get you to think and understand of the whys. Um, and then from that, it will sound different for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you channel, right? Like if you were channeling then for me,
Mm-hmm.
it is still going to sound different than if, let's say, this person channels for me.
Right.
And the reason of that is because the I am, the guides, however it is you want to think of it at this point, is using your toolbox. So the concepts that you have stored in here, the phrasing, the words. I always say this is your toolbox. That's why sometimes when you're channeling, and it feels like there's rummaging happening through your brain of like, okay, looking for a word. And then you kind of get that feeling of like, oh, it must be me because why else would I be looking for a word? Well, you're not, but you're sensing that digging through your toolbox. And then they'll pull out that tool or that phrase, that word. And you're like, I never would have used that.
Right.
Like, that's kind of one of those I know instances. But the ChatGPT being tailored to is a really good way of thinking of it with those little bits of except there's going to be
Right. That makes sense.
more give back, challenge of conversation.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Oh my gosh. Your classes are going to be so fun. So, did you say that there was a wait list for the new things that you're doing?
So yeah, so the way that I was doing it before is I was just saying, okay, like anyone who wants to learn how to channel, you can go ahead, join me. I will teach you how to channel. Well, I connect all day, every day. I'm a lot of connection. And that is everything for my work too. And so when I'm like, okay, what's going on with this energy? What's happening? Oh, there's this misalignment. So what I'm doing now is I'm teaching the philosophy. So if anybody wants to really kind of understand more of the I am, but also embodying it, how can I show up like this in my life to create the life that I actually desire? That's where I'm starting. And then once people get this philosophy and they understand it and they believe this and they want to go further and they want to channel and they want to connect more with guidance or I am, right? Then I'm bringing it. So I'm offering now still my one-on-one sessions where, people can buy the package and get that private channeling development with me. But I am now kind of doing a little bit deeper of an interview. Before I've always been like, I'm going to see if this works for both of us. But now it's a little bit deeper than that. And the wait list for those who want to really learn how to channel and embody this I am is now there. I'm still have my at your own pace course of remembering how to channel for those who just want to learn how to channel. They just want to, okay, I want to learn how to connect. I want to, kind of get to that point. Um, but that is the at your own pace and offering it's just a little bit less access to me and then going deeper. um, I'm bringing once a month in-person meetings. So for local people can come to these meetings and I will be channeling the I am presence. So it'll be a group channeling and then people will have an opportunity to get up and then ask their own questions and be channeled for. So I'm doing that once a month and then I'm going to be bringing some more online meetings for people to come on to and be able to learn and ask questions and figure out if they want to embody this and really step in. So,
Yay.
yeah, a little
Oh,
different.
that's going to be so fun. That's going to be so, so fun. And I'm glad you're doing it online for the people all over the world who will see this and want to know more. And if you are interested in learning how to channel and maybe getting special one-on-one treatment with Shea, we've got her details down in the show notes. And if you like conversations like this, please subscribe and like my channel because we got some more coming up. And Shea, I am so excited that I got a chance to talk to you today because you were so awesome and connected and wonderful. And I think you're doing amazing work in the world. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
your
Thank
teaching and
you.
presence.
And thank you for inviting me on here. You have great people lined up. I've seen so many people already writing and asking to be able to be interviewed by you. And so I'm like, oh, yes, I got in. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. And yes, I look forward to anybody who is even curious and wants to know more. Welcome to follow me and see what I'm about.
Yay. Thank you guys so much. And tune in next time. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.